is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to Ruel's Running Podcast. It's another episode. This is the second episode of the new year. Right? That's right? God. Between this podcast and the Service Guys podcast, I can't keep track of things, but I'm going to go with that. Welcome to another episode of Ruel's Running Podcast. This is your host, as Anna mentioned on the top of the show, top of the intro, Ruel Abadam, and I am driving once again, and here to bring you another episode. Oh my God. Yeah. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope the weather is great where you're at. If not, at least tolerable. I know it doesn't matter to you guys, but here in Northern California, we've got 50 degrees and a bunch of clouds and fog where I'm at. And I do need a scarf today, and I do need a scarf and puffy vest. So expecting a lot of cold. Got an 80% chance of rain. And why am I telling you about the rain? Well, because it is cold and there's a good chance of it being wet. I'm going to attempt to do a run midday in all of that glory, assuming it happens or not. But regardless, I'm going to make it happen. Have lots to do. Have lots going on. So let's get on with the program. What is cooking? Yeah, so, this morning I realized as I was whizzing my wife's shake that I haven't mentioned making shakes lately, and I still regularly make the kale shakes, and I don't have them as much as I used to, but I still make them. I make them for my wife, and the recipe rarely changes for the most part, and it consists of frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, a half a frozen banana, half of a frozen banana, a handful of kale, not just the leafy part, but even the stalky part of the leaf, and a celery stalk, a carrot, and that's pretty much it as far as, fruits and vegetables. I'll throw in a handful of raw almonds. I'll throw in a heaping teaspoon or tablespoon of coconut oil. I'll pour in a half can of coconut milk. I forget what a can is measured in ounces. I'm going to say 8 ounces perhaps, 10 ounces, and half of a can. And if I'm not pouring in the coconut milk, I'm cracking some frozen coconut milk. So basically, when I crack open a can, I use half of it. I'll save the remaining half in a freezer in a lidded plastic container. So if I'm using that second half and it's frozen, I just remove it from the plastic container and break it up into fragments and throw that in. Basically, it's coconut milk ice fragments. So I'll throw that in. I'll put a lot of ground cinnamon. I don't know how to measure that in as far as teaspoons. Maybe it's 2 teaspoons worth of ground cinnamon and about a cup, 2 cups of water, and about 2 cups of ice. And that will go in the Vitamix blender, and I'll whip it up as smooth as I possibly can, and that will result in 3 tall glasses, usually, of the stuff. And that's for my wife. But yeah, I love making shakes in the Vitamix. I would be drinking it along with her, but I just don't want the banana. So now that I'm talking about it, and I can't believe I haven't thought about it after all of these years. It's been over a year. My gosh. I think my wife's been drinking this stuff. I should just make it sans the banana. And then pour myself my portion, and then leave her portion back in the pitcher, and then add the banana. So I should do that, but I am not that smart that early in the morning when I'm making this stuff. It's surprised that I have not blended my fingers yet. No, I should not blend my fingers. Definitely not. So always coffee. I haven't talked about coffee lately. I love coffee. Coffee is my favorite. It's my favorite thing in the world. Coffee. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go get me some coffee right now. That's how much I love coffee. And if there's anybody there that likes to give coffee away, I'd happily accept. Please send coffee to me. I'd love it. I'll do coffee in a French press. I roll with the Pete's coffee. I just get the ground. I don't have a complicated... Well, I have a complicated morning routine, so I need to uncomplicate things where that can stand to be uncomplicated, so I can get through my morning. And the way I do that is one thing is I go with the pre-ground coffee, Pete's coffee. The roast is the Cafe Domingo. I'll put that in a French press, and I'll have my coffee that way. A lot of times lately, I am adding a nice teaspoon of coconut oil in my hot cup of coffee, followed by once the coconut oil has sort of liquefied into my coffee, I'll add a splash of heavy whipping cream. And that's how I've been enjoying the first cup, the Zeroth cup of coffee, and then I just take the rest of the French press and I'll top off. I'll keep adding to my almost emptying cup of coffee till I'm done with the whole dang thing. And that's usually what my morning coffee is. That's being enjoyed during lunch prep for the kids and a little breakfast prep for my wife. And so typically that the food prep in the morning is anywhere from 6 to 10 strips of bacon, and I'll do up to 8 strips of bacon in the microwave, and I'll do at least 2 strips on a hot cast iron pan on a cast iron skillet. And why not all on a cast iron? Because I won't have space on a skillet to do all of them the way I want to do them, and I won't be able to make them consistently crisp in a way that I need them to be for the kids, or consistently not burned. So yeah, I'll do that, and I'll send my daughter. I'll pack her lunch with 4 strips of bacon and a small side of steamed rice. That's sort of her thing. And with the boys, they're at an age where they've decided they're going to vary their menu for lunch through the week. So today, I do this thing for the kids. It's a buttered pasta. They're not big on red sauce. They're not big on Neapolitan sauce. They're not big on the cheesy sauce as well. So it's simply pasta boiled in olive oil and salted, drained pretty good, and then for each of the since there are two boys, for each portion I'll do a tablespoon of Kerrygold butter. So let's say I'm making 2 servings worth of the pasta, and I'll put 2 tablespoons of butter after I've drained the pasta really well, and I'll just melt that butter in the hot pot with the pasta, toss in a bunch of salt, and then I'll basically fill their thermoses up with the hot pasta, and I'll take, for each of the servings, I'll take 2 strips of the crisp bacon that I've done in the microwave, and I'll just crumble the heck out of that in my hands and sprinkle it all over the pasta. And sort of work it in a little bit. That way when they open up their thermoses, they're not just seeing a bed of crumbled bacon. They'll see it's somewhat integrated. And that's basically what the boys are going to have today. Buttered rotini pasta with bacon. So, yeah. So my kids are not NSNG, but I do teach them I do teach them why NSNG is important. And I do encourage them to eat the good stuff, meaning, meats and cheeses and oils, the healthy stuff. And they still get to, indulge in what is typical kids' snack food these days. But at least, they are enjoying being kids, and at least they are getting, I hope, they are picking up, information on nutrition that I was not taught when I was a kid. That is aligned with things that are NSNG. So yeah, I mean, I love having those conversations. I had lengthy conversations with my oldest son about. As a matter of fact, let's continue on this. Food, it's not what's cooking, but it's more on food and NSNG related stuff. It's specific to juice. I had a conversation with my oldest son about orange juice. This was after swim class over the weekend, and I had to describe. I forgot how the topic came up, but hold on a second. Okay, the topic had to do with. I think it had to do with the consistency of orange juice. I think. No. The topic of orange juice and soda, as far as what is unhealthy, and my kids know to stay away from soda. There's nothing good comes of soda, right? So his default mindset is soda is worse than orange juice, orange as juice, or more worse than juice, orange juice as an example. And I told him not necessarily, and I told him that from all the information that I've read and also from my experience, you can get orange juice. If you were to get equal volumes of soda and orange juice, you can have a sweeter orange juice than the soda. And from a sugar consumption standpoint, none of them are going to be healthy. We're just going to call them both bad, and orange juice can be worse. But people are going to think, well, it's orange. It's coming from a fruit. Fruit's good for you. It's got a vitamin C, but if you're looking at the impact of sugar, it's going to have a greater impact of sugar on the system, assuming the volume is equal between soda and and the juice. And then, went on to compare a glass of orange juice and a whole orange. And went on to describe, if you were to take a whole orange and squeeze the juice out of it into a glass, the amount of juice that you get from a whole orange versus just getting a straight glass of orange juice from a store, from concentrate, it's not going to be the same. You're going to need several oranges to equal a full glass of orange juice. And the taste and texture is going to be different. Orange juice that you get from a carton is from concentrate, so it's as that description says, it's got a higher density of the orange juice per volume than if you were to get fresh squeezed. Fresh squeezed, it'll still be sticky and sweet, but it'll be a little bit more runny as opposed to from concentrate. And to get a full glass of orange juice, you're going to need several oranges. And I had to describe, if you were to eat a whole orange, you'd be done, right? You would have gotten the juice and the pulp, the fibrous matter, that edible matter that comes with the orange, and you'd be done, right? And so what happens is, yes, you get a level of sugar from the fruit, but you also get all the other stuff, and you're done. You call it quits. Whereas if you get a whole glass of orange juice, you're talking several oranges needed, so several oranges worth of sugar in that glass, and you're going to drink out the whole glass, and you're probably going to be wanting to eat, if not already, other stuff along the way with that glass of orange juice to accompany that orange juice, or that orange juice is going to accompany some stuff that you're eating. So not only are you getting the juice of an orange multiplied several times in that glass, you don't have the benefit of the fibrous material that comes with the orange to buffer the effect of all that sugar. So you're overdosing on it, and you're still eating other stuff. So from a sugar hit standpoint, you've gone overboard, So, it's not cut and dry, right? When you're talking to the kids, like, oh, orange juice is good for you, and soda's bad for you. He may get that information from whoever he's around in school, and I'm having to actually stretch his mind and say it's not cut and dry. Thanks for chatting, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I'll try to come up with something more interesting to talk about on the next episode. And so stay tuned. Hug your friends, hug your family, eat something delicious, and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.